On June 13, 2010, Holiday World owner Will Koch passed away due to complications from diabetes. Over his 20 years running the park, he brought Holiday World into the international spotlight. His reign saw the addition of the Splashin' Safari Water Park in 1993, their first coaster, the Raven, in 1995, their second major coaster, the Legend, in 2000, as well as a brand new section of the park, Thanksgiving. This came in 2006 with the park's flagship attraction, The Voyage, a 5-time Golden Ticket Award winner for the world's best wooden coaster. His final contribution to the park came in 2009 and would also find its way into the Thanksgiving section, and he was hoping it would make a real splash, figuratively and literally. Will Koch wanted to build the world's tallest water ride and asked Intamin to get it done. It was going to be the park's second biggest investment in its history. 5 years later, the area was a wasteland, a shell of what it once was. This is the downfall of Pilgrim's Plunge, the world's tallest water ride. Holiday World was riding high after the smashing success of The Voyage in 2006. But the park prides itself on being more than just about the coasters. Its water park is one of the best in the world and a big draw for thrill seekers. Will Koch wanted an attraction that would combine the two experiences. He wanted to build a Shoot the Chutes water ride for years, but never found the opportunity. But he felt like it had been long enough since the park's competitors had added a big water ride, and 2009 was the time to do it. He found the perfect spot for it, where it could be part of both the dry park and the water park. It would be right on the side of Voyage's lift hill on the Thanksgiving section of the park, but with a direct path leading to it from the water park. Its name was Pilgrim's Plunge, built by Intamin at a cost of $4.3 million. Koch wanted the world's tallest Shoot the Chutes water ride, and Intamin came up with a brand new prototype to achieve the goal. The previous record holder was also an Intamin creation, Perilous Plunge at Knott's Berry Farm, standing at 115 feet. This had a traditional lift hill, followed by a turnaround and a steep drop. Pilgrim's Plunge would feature a first-of-its-kind elevator lift. The 10-person boats would lock onto the track at the bottom of the lift, and then be lifted at a rate of 6 feet per second to the top, a 22-second journey to reach the 130-foot peak. Instead of a steep drop, it would slide down a 45-degree ramp until hitting the top speed of 50 miles per hour, into the splashdown area. Despite its enormous size and intimidating lift structure, it was still billed as a family ride because of its mild drop. On May 2, 2009, Pilgrim's Plunge made its debut and immediately raised eyebrows, but not necessarily for positive reasons. The ride was advertised to have a 45-foot high and 90-foot wide wave at the bottom of that drop, but the splash turned out to be kind of sad. Will Koch even stated that the park was disappointed with how the splash turned out. The narrow two-across trains did not create the same splash that everyone was used to seeing with the wider boats, and this diminished the visual spectacle of the ride, along with failing to soak the riders as advertised. It would skin along its runout, and then sink into the deeper water before returning to the station. They asked the ride's installer, Interride, to come in at the end of the 2009 season and modify the runout, as well as reshape the bottom of the drop to create a bigger wave. Anyone who's familiar with Intamin knows their problems with reliability, and when you mix in the fact that this was a prototype, downtime was the name of the game in its opening year. Pilgrim's Plunge had a complex control system with a large number of sensors, and each one would shut the ride down if triggered. Will Koch acknowledged the problem and stated that these problems were not serious, but guests perceived them as serious because it took a long time to clear the errors and restart the ride. By some accounts, these sensors could cause delays that would last up to half the operating day. By the end of the first season, Koch stated that a lot of these technical issues had been resolved and the ride had become much more reliable. He sounded optimistic. He had to. This was a $4.3 million investment, and it wasn't quite what the park had expected. There was some nervousness among the upper ranks. The economy was garbage in 2009, and Pilgrim's Plunge did not bring in the rise of attendance that they expected. The corporate picnic business evaporated, a complaint that every amusement chain had at the time. But Koch claimed that the walk-in business was strong thanks to the new record-breaking ride. This was the type of addition that would raise attendance by 5 to 8%. But by the end of the season, the park was just trying to surpass their 2008 numbers. As the next few years rolled on, the problems persisted. The splashdown was not made any better, and maintenance issues continued to plague the ride. But that wasn't the only problem. The ride itself just didn't seem to work. The ride from the station to the elevator lift was long, slow, and unthemed. It seems like making this an indoor section of the ride, along with some Pilgrim theming, would have been the better move, but that would have made the price tag that much higher. The ride also seemed to target the wrong audience. As Will Koch said, "Frankly, even though it's enormous, it's still a family ride." But it turns out that the families that would have enjoyed the ride the most were intimidated by its size. The thrill seekers were willing to get on it, but they came off disappointed by the slow nature of the ride and the shallow 45-degree drop that served as a climax. And then there was Intamin. More and more parks were getting fed up with their ride's reliability issues. And sometimes minor breakdowns weren't the only problems. On July 19th, 2013, the Intamin Shoot the Chutes ride at Cedar Point, Shoot the Rapids, rolled back down its lift hill and flipped over, injuring the 7 riders on board. Some people point to this as a reason that Pilgrim's Plunge was removed the following year, and it may have been, but at the time of the incident, Holiday World had already shut the ride down, so Intamin could come in and try to improve the ride's reliability. Some accounts state that Will Koch did not enjoy the park's relationship with Intamin, and it was unlikely that they would ever work with them again. Intamin would go on to use the same elevator technology and shallow drop on their future water coasters, Speed at Energylandia and Divertical at Mirabilandia, which seemed to be a much better fit than the Shoot the Chutes water ride that's meant to cause a tidal wave to soak its riders. There's a lot of trial and error when getting a prototype, and Holiday World chose to be the guinea pig for this technology, and it turned out to be a bad fit for the type of ride they wanted. Before the 2014 season, the park decided to expand the water park behind Pilgrim's Plunge, so it made sense to incorporate the ride entirely into the water park. This would mean that the Thanksgiving theme would no longer be appropriate. Pilgrim's Plunge became Giraffica, and would now only run on days that the water park was open, and would operate with the water park's hours. When the ride opened in 2009, Will Koch said that it was a signature attraction for the park, but 5 years later, this was no longer the case. Following the 2014 season, the park announced that it would be removed. When asked for an official reason, the park spokeswoman stated, "It was down more than it was open, and that's not what we're all about. We didn't want people to be continuously disappointed when they come and it's closed." Will Koch had a phenomenal 20-year run leading Holiday World into prominence in the amusement industry, and it's sad to see that his final contribution to the park was an expensive failure. Despite his public optimism, it seems like he knew that the ride was problematic in just about every way, and I'm sure that he wouldn't have been surprised to see it have such a short run at the park. Personally, my trips to Holiday World came before and after Pilgrim's Plunge's existence, and when I came across pictures of it for the first time, I was amazed, and I thought it would be interesting to look into. On my last trip to Holiday World in 2020, I was shocked to see just how much of this ride is still intact 6 years after its closure. The station and the concrete trough that the boats ran through are still there, right next to the Mayflower. And if you have the opportunity to get into the picnic area, you can get a great look at the whole layout. The year after its removal, the Thanksgiving area had a massive expansion with a $22 million B&M wing coaster Thunderbird, but decided to leave the whole Pilgrim's Plunge footprint untouched. I'm not sure why they left it like this for so long, but as a fan of park history, it's nice to have something like this stick around as a reminder of what once was the world's tallest water ride. If you were able to ride Pilgrim's Plunge or Giraffica, let me know what you thought in the comments below. Did you think that it was too mild or boring? Were you disappointed with the splashdown? And did you experience any of that notorious downtime when you were trying to get on it? Despite all of the issues, it's an experience that I wish I was able to have. So I'll just live vicariously through Sean Flaherty's video, with a ridiculous 17 million views, and all of the footage that the park posted to YouTube when it opened. I'll leave all those links down below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, and subscribe if you're new here. And if you like these mini documentary style videos, check out my research videos playlist for more just like this. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.